Hello, hi, and welcome or welcome back to the Strategic Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Blue, and I am a business coach and astrological advisor for business owners. And I'm here to help you not only learn business astrology, but to actually use it to start, grow, and scale your business. I am so excited for today's episode because we've been talking all about how to get started with business astrology. The last two episodes, we've talked about the midheaven and also the wealth houses. So if this is the first episode that you are catching me out on, welcome. But make sure you listen to the last two episodes because they'll get you all caught up. Today, we are talking about the final place that I suggest looking to when it comes to learning business astrology and how to use astrology to grow and scale your business. So we've mentioned the midheaven, which is my favorite place to start with business owners. And we've also talked about the wealth houses, the second house, the sixth house, and the 10th house. Now, when it comes to using astrology for business specifically, there's a particular placement that often gets very overlooked, but is so powerful in your chart, and that is the ruling planet of your midheaven sign. You can almost think of this as like the second ascendant, but instead of, literally ruling over the ascendant, this is the planet that rules over your midheaven sign. And so this has a really special place in your chart because wherever this planet is, this can give you even more insight when it comes to using your chart specifically to grow and scale your business. And this is often where I think people make the mistake when it comes to astrology for business. There's so much pressure and so much noise around, okay, what does it mean if I have this sign and this placement? And it's not so much about that because we all are, a culmination of all of the energies in our charts. And so using astrology for business is less about figuring out, okay, if I'm a Taurus, if I'm an Aquarius, if I'm a Capricorn, what does that mean? And like what kind of business fits just that one placement? Instead, it's really being able to see astrology as a tool, just like coaching, like graphic design, like anything else that you do in your service-based business, and to be able to translate and infuse that energy into whatever that you do. And that naturally gives you a cosmic boost so that you go from being just any coach, any consultant, any service-based business owner, and you become the go-to because you have the secret sauce. You are using the energies that are already within your chart to stand out, to step into your power and become that one. You feel me? That's really why I do this work. I'm not interested in teaching you like, okay, if you're a Pisces, like this is the career for you. No, like that's whack. Instead, I'm going to teach you how to step into your own power by learning what your energy is and then infusing that in what you have decided to do as a business owner. And so that's why these episodes are also really important. And I do encourage you quite often to go and re-listen to them because this is the core of the work that we do together when we work together inside of one-on-one coaching, which I'll talk about a bit later. So all that being said, let's talk about the ruling planet of your midheaven. So as a traditional astrologer, I use the traditional planets, meaning when I do my consultations with clients and I'm working with them, I don't use the outer planets for rulership. Instead, I use all of the planets, the sun through Saturn, when determining rulership. And I find that this is just so much more accurate and more supportive in my consultations. Each of the 12 zodiac signs are ruled by a different traditional planet. And so when you are able to figure out which planet rules that midheaven sign, this gives even deeper insight into how you can begin to interpret and use the energies of your chart, specifically for your midheaven sign. So let's talk about it, okay? Firstly, let's go through very quickly the signs in which traditional planets they are ruled by. So Leo is the only sign that is ruled by the sun, and Cancer is the only sign that is ruled by the moon. This makes them very special in terms of rulership because they're the only signs that are ruled by the luminaries. Every other sign shares co-rulership with other signs. So Mercury naturally rules over Gemini and Virgo. Venus rules over Taurus and Libra. Mars rules over Aries and Scorpio. Jupiter rules over Sagittarius and Pisces. Saturn rules over Capricorn and Aquarius. And so those are the traditional rulers and the signs that they rule over. So what you want to do is first listen to that, right? Which sign rules over your midheaven? And then figure out, okay, from there, which planet rules over that sign? So once you find that, you're going to want to look at your own chart and think about these few things. Firstly, where is this planet in your chart? Which house is it in? What sign does it rule? What degree is it? You already know the drill. And this is important because this gives us a base determination when it comes to interpreting this sign. So you can also think about if there are any aspects between your midheaven and the midheaven ruler. So aspects are just relationships between the planets. Can they see each other? Are they on good terms? Are they on not so good terms? Can they communicate with each other in the same way? All of this is really important because this can let us know if there are challenges between the planets themselves, the signs, and then also how we can leverage that friction and use it to your advantage as a business owner, because I believe there are no bad placements. There are no bad, scary things in your chart, but rather there are opportunities to use this information for your greater good and to leverage them as your secret sauce in your business and your brand. Because the midheaven is so important when it comes to the legacy, the vocation that you have, and the energy that you're bringing into everything in your business, the ruling planet gives us even more insight with this. So you can use the ruling planet to help shape your branding, help determine your general business direction, right? To really step into your authority as well, to help you become that one in your industry. And it can also even help you to determine even more deeply, what your niche is and what your specializations are. And so this is why it's so important to work with a business coach and an astrological advisor like me, because not only do I do this work for you, it is a lot of work that goes into doing interpretations and even tracking transits to think about the relationships and between placements and planets and how to use them. But it's even deeper work to literally transfigure that information into how you can leverage it in your business. So let me use my own chart as an example, just so you can kind of get a taste for what this work actually looks like. So I have a 10th house Taurus midheaven. Taurus is ruled by Venus. So in my chart, Venus is in my 9th house, which is ruled by Aries. So there's this really interesting relationship that's already happening between the two, even though there aren't any direct aspects that are happening. Venus in the 9th house really points to me stepping into that teacher energy, stepping out of being the student and actually sharing all the things that I've learned over time, creating my own path of doing things. Aries likes to be the trendsetter, even though it is uncomfortable in the sign of Venus. Venus much prefers to be in Taurus and Libra, but that's okay because I can still use that energy and use that friction to create a new way of doing things and to merge the energy of being the first, being the leader, being independent with the energy of Taurus that craves that stability and creating tangibility through service and to work smarter, not harder. And a lot of this informs the way that I do my own work. With business coaching, it's so important that I not only create my own frameworks, but that they're actually useful and they're helpful for the clients that I work with. And as an astrologer, I can take my unique way of interpreting the planets, even though I'm following a traditional process, I can infuse that into and also allow it to inform how I create my frameworks, how I make it easier for business owners to understand how powerful it is to leverage astrology and how they can actually use it in structuring their business and creating offers and figuring out their marketing. And so that's how I've been able to leverage this in my own chart. And this is also like what I do with clients inside of one-on-one coaching. So not only do we spend time with your unique individual chart, but I also do the interpretations for you. So you don't have to like do all of this yourself, but instead we focus our time on, okay, how can we actually use this as tools to help you become that one in your industry? How can we leverage the fact that as a Capricorn midheaven, you're ruled by Saturn? How can we leverage the archetypes of Saturn and what Saturn represents in order to help you become a better coach? How can we utilize your Leo midheaven and the sun and where the sun is to help you become a better graphic designer? How can we do all of this to help you become a better writer as a Gemini midheaven? And use this in conjunction with the other supportive placements in your chart and the other placements in general in your chart that you can leverage that nobody else is speaking to in your industry, so that you become that one that people are going to. And they can't pinpoint exactly like what it is that has you standing out from everybody else, how you're doing it. But I know, and you know, and we know that it's because you're using your astrology charts. And you're leveraging it as a tool, just like anything else that you do in your business. That's how you become an industry leader. That's how you become that one and you book out your business. And so if you're interested in us working together, make sure that you apply to become a one-on-one coaching client. The link to that, as well as everything else I've mentioned in this episode, can be found in the show notes below. So make sure you check that out. And I want to hear from you. What is the planet that rules your midheaven sign? And what house is it in your chart? I'm so curious to know. All right, that's absolutely everything I have for you in today's episode. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.